watching Fintech Wave.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ken from Fintech Wave. I hope you're well. I'm back with another video. But before we get started, I'd just like to remind you, if you haven't already, please click like and subscribe, and also smash that notification bell. Those things help Fintech Wave go up in the rankings, and you'll also be notified when we drop new content on Fintech Wave. And by all means, do comment down below as the video progresses. If you want to jump in and share your views, they're always welcome. I just want to start off today's video by going over some of the highlights. Right now, we have a market cap of $2.478 trillion for crypto overall, almost $2.5 trillion. So we're definitely back on the upswing. And the theme of today's video is Bitcoin is pumping. Along with that, I'm going to make a case for a six-figure Bitcoin. That's really what this video is about. I've said it several times throughout the year, since back like in February or March. Since 7-8 months ago, I've been saying Bitcoin could reach six figures. So we're up nearing $2.5 trillion on overall market cap for crypto. And we saw Bitcoin reach above 61,000 this week. Right now, Bitcoin is 60,700, has pulled back a little bit for the weekend. This always happens on the weekend. People take profits, especially after a week like the one we've had. I thought I saw Bitcoin go as high as 62 or 63,000, but I could be mistaken. It might have been like 61,300. And then I was looking at the most recent chart. Here's the last 7 days on Bitcoin. And I can see that the high we reached was about right here. And that's, okay, 62,491 is the highest we reached this week. And that's approaching all-time highs. I mean, I think the all-time high was 63,000 plus a little bit. I'm going to get to that a little later in the video. So after a week of nearing all-time highs, it's no wonder that people will be taking profits this weekend. People normally take profits on the weekend anyway. So that's a bit of what we're seeing, but it's nothing like some enormous pullback. And again, making the case toward a six-figure Bitcoin, if you look at what happened last year, it wasn't until December where all of a sudden Bitcoin shot up to $20,000. So none of what I'm saying in this video is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do your own research. But we are approaching our all-time highs that we hit back earlier this year. And it's the weekend, so you may see a little bit of selling, but I still believe that the trend is upward. This is Q4. Remember what happened last December. And a couple of articles that I want to use to support the notion of a bullish trend in Bitcoin going towards six figures are what will follow right now. Firstly, this is the latest news that kicked off the most recent uptrend in Bitcoin price activity, and that is that the SEC approves Bitcoin futures ETF, opening crypto to wider investor base. Like I said earlier in the year when I was talking about Barry Silbert, I think in the video, Crypto is Exploding, the one with the jet plane on it. I talked about Barry Silbert in his video and how he said a wave of institutional money is coming. And, these are people who are at the epicenter of cryptocurrency. And Barry Silbert is right there in the political hearings, right? Barry Silbert is the head of Digital Currency Group, which pretty much runs Grayscale. And, I've always associated Barry Silbert with Coinbase, right? He's not the CEO of Coinbase, but I mean, Coinbase, the first person that comes to mind for me is Barry Silbert. He's the person really at the apex of the whole thing. No Barry Silbert, no DGC, no Grayscale, no Coinbase. So this right here opens up crypto now officially to institutional investors. The floodgates are open. I believe if you think 62,000 and change is a lot, wait until you see what happens over the next 45 days. Second piece of news. Morgan Stanley doubles exposure to Bitcoin through Grayscale shares. There's Grayscale again. GBTC, Digital Currency Group, Barry Silbert's company, is the company behind that. GBTC is a stock based on the price of Bitcoin. And it gives you exposure to Bitcoin without having to spend all that money, $60,000, right? Right now, I think one share of GBTC is like $47.48. We'll see what happens on Monday. You could have gotten it as low as like high 20s back when the market took a big correction back in May. But they've been around for a few years now. I think it's since 2017. It started underperforming somewhat, and then Bitcoin had that pullback in May, and then naturally you get a couple of negative factors, and that's when the fear, uncertainty, and doubt headlines come out of the woodwork. Oh, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is no good, and Bitcoin's going to zero. It's going to zero, right? Remember that FUD from a couple of months ago, but here we have Morgan Stanley doubling its exposure to Bitcoin, not through Bitcoin, They're not buying Bitcoin. They're buying the underlying, like a derivative. That's basically what it is. It's a stock that derives its value from Bitcoin. So it could be looked at as a derivative, depending on how you're evaluating it. But really, the most important thing to look at is this is September 27th. This is a couple of weeks ago, right? September 27th. These guys get in and double their exposure to GBTC, right? Let's look at what Bitcoin was doing on September 27th. There's September 27 right there, 42,235. So that's, if you look at where the market closed on Friday, if you look at the high for the week, 62,000, so that's a $20,000 increase. Let's call that a 50% gain. This was in the headlines 2 weeks ago. So who knows where Morgan Stanley actually got in? Who knows where they doubled that? But that was actually pretty timely information, right? Around the 27th, 28th of June, if you read that and said, hey, look, these guys are doubling down on GBTC, maybe I should jump in too, you could have made all that money right there. You know what I mean? Bitcoin went up by 50%. If GBTC was 35, it might have went up to 45, right? But if you had 100 shares and then it went up $10, you made $1,000. $1,000 on $3,500 is like a 30% increase in like a month, right? You don't get 30% returns in a bank. So this is just by following the news and looking at what's going on and looking at what the big boys are doing, you could have mimicked Morgan Stanley and made all of this money right here. If they're doubling down their exposure, that means they're looking for a long-term play. And again, these types of players make moves for big, big returns, right? And they're jumping in, doubling down when Bitcoin's 42,000. I think they're probably looking at a six-figure or, a $100,000 or maybe even $200,000 Bitcoin in the next 1 to 2 years. As a third piece of information, talking about why we could have a six-figure Bitcoin this year, let's look back to how MicroStrategy is this company run by Michael Saylor. They've been just buying up Bitcoin like crazy. Here's the Bitcoin market for the past year. And, when we were over here, Michael Saylor was the Wall Street darling. You couldn't hear anything bad about Michael Saylor. But then the minute the market did this, all of a sudden, he was like the redheaded stepchild. They were just like, he messed up. He had to write in the information in the quarterly report and tell his shareholders that they would be taking an impairment, not a loss, an impairment, right? Because he was down big. I mean, at one point he was buying in this range, still buying things up in the $50,000 range. And then Bitcoin went all the way back down to like, what is this right here? 29,000. So Bitcoin took a huge hit and he didn't have any cash. He was down big on Bitcoin. He didn't have any cash. So he had to float a bond to get cash to double down. And the tone of the information to me was like, ha ha, look at you, dummy. You know what I mean? You're all messed up, no money, chips are down, and you don't even know when to pack it in. The way I read it was, look at this guy. He's so certain that Bitcoin is going to take off, that crypto is going to do well. He's willing to bet the ranch. And that's what he did. He went way into debt to buy more. So basically, he threw it all on the roulette wheel on like 23 red, right? And spun the wheel, and this is how it came back. We're over here now. That's the 1 year chart. If you look at the 7-day chart on Bitcoin, we hit 62.6 or better this week. So they're not laughing now. All of the times the chips were down, look at the things I've pointed out. They're talking about Morgan Stanley doubles down. They're not doubling down on a position from the day before. The implication is they've been buying crypto all along. They had acquired a certain amount, and now they're doubling their position, right? That was a couple of weeks ago. Crypto went up. What I'm saying is Bitcoin is 62,000, right? But this is not the end of the line, folks. Not by any stretch. I mean, I'm not going to tell you Bitcoin's going to 1 million by the end of the year. What I'm saying is there's a strong case for a six-figure Bitcoin before the year is out. And a lot of times when Bitcoin pulls back like it did here to 29,000 and things like that, it's a difficult sell. But still, we've come a long way and we still have a long way to go. So really, I just want to cap it off by saying, crypto's not going anywhere. And look at it like this. If crypto were going away just by itself because it was just a fad and it was going to die out, the government wouldn't be looking to shut it down the way they're looking to shut it down. It's a problem. And the reason it's a problem is because it threatens the money flow of the people in power. That's all you have to know, right? If it threatens the money flow of the people in power, that's when they're going to be looking to try to figure out how they can control it, which to me is a signal to try to get some and put it away somewhere. That's what you got to look at. Why are they trying to regulate it? Why are they trying to go after it? Because it can upset the balance of power. So I'm not saying buy Bitcoin. Nothing I'm saying in this video is financial advice. What I'm saying is Bitcoin's had a good week. Bitcoin's back on the upswing. Bitcoin's probably going to six figures this year. And that's not even the end. It's not stopping at 100,000, right? I think it's going way higher than that. Where it'll end up, I have no idea. Could go to 500,000. And there will be bear markets behind this one. You know, Bitcoin could reach 110, 120,000. And then we could see a bear market that could bring it back down to 72, you know, which would be a buying opportunity. Maybe you can jump in and get some GBTC. That's one you might want to research, because that's a way to get into Bitcoin without necessarily having to plunk down serious money to actually own the actual crypto, right? This video was all about the case for Bitcoin going to six figures or maybe even beyond by the year's end. And, you know, I'm taking the opportunity to look at the different points in the year where, I mean, look at this. We were here at the all-time high, and then we went all the way down to here. And naturally, this right here was when the naysayers were having a party. Oh, ha, look at you. Because remember, when that was there, you couldn't see any of the rest of the chart, right? You couldn't see all of this activity that was to come. All you saw was we were here, and now we were here. And that's scary. A lot of people sold out. And then you know what else happens? There's a lot of people that buy crypto on margin. Like, margin is when your broker will lend you money. So if you have $1,000, your broker will say, I'll match you. Now you got $2,000, you know, knock yourself out. And so you go in and you buy $2,000 worth of crypto. But what a lot of people don't pay attention to is the fine print. And the fine print says, if this thing starts to drop, the first thing I'm going to do is sell your holdings to get my money back. Because the broker doesn't care about your position. The broker wants his 1,000, hopefully plus a little bit of interest, because it's borrowed money. So there's interest too. So if he lent you 1,000 and it's a couple of months that went by and he cashes you out, he's going to cash you out at 1,020. And when the smoke clears, you might be left with $5, right? So that's what happens. And a lot of times when things start to sell off and you see these big drops in crypto, it's not because people are losing faith and things like that. What it is a lot of people are margined up with their positions in crypto. They own a lot of it on borrowed money. And it's the brokers cashing out their positions. And, you know, it creates a snowball effect, because one broker cashes out to get his margin, drops the price. And the other broker sees, oh, well, the price is going down. I got to get my margin. He jumps in, cashes out. The price goes down, and it keeps going down until the dust settles wherever that may be. And you end up with a situation like this, right? And the same thing happened with the great stock market crash of 1929. That's what did it. People buying stock on credit. And when things started looking bad, all of those people got liquidated. There were margin calls and everybody got liquidated, and the market took a nosedive because it was the bankers getting their money. So these bankers are going to get their money. And if you just hold that thought for a minute and you look at something like this and you think about bankers getting their money, couple that with this set of bankers doubling down on Bitcoin through Grayscale shares. And what does that tell you? It tells me that they have a long-term bullish outlook for Bitcoin. I think it could go to six figures. I hope it goes to six figures, because then the overall crypto market will rise as well. It'll bring the alts up with it, and my Shiba Inu will go to the moon. Shout out to the Shiba Inu community. And listen, XRP, I haven't forgotten about my XRP family. You know, we're just all waiting on this case to settle, and I'm hoping that XRP goes to $10,000. I'll leave it on the XRP note. Bitcoin to 100,000, Shiba Inu to the moon, XRP to the stratosphere. This is Ken from Fintech Wave signing off. I'll catch you guys in the next vid. This is Ken from Fintech Wave. Thanks for checking out this latest episode. If you like the content, please hit like and subscribe. Shout out to all the people who've subscribed already. I'm going to try to keep the quality content coming on Fintech. I appreciate you. And there's a link in the description. The Fintech Wave theme is now an NFT. See you next time, everybody. Take care.